Manifesting with black magic actually taught me how to do it faster, and 99% of people are not going to watch this video all the way to the end, so they're going to stay ignorant. Don't be one of those people. Now, usually people see black magic as like this negative, right? It's only evil, it's only about negativity, harming people, but that's not actually true. Imagine having an iPhone, right? You can do some really crappy things with an iPhone, or you can do some really amazing things with an iPhone as well, right? So just look at light magic as an Android and black magic as an iPhone for just this example right now. Both are phones, both can do positive and negative things depending on the user. So in this case, I want you to think of black magic as the word invincibility or the word the void, because that's really what you're working with when you're practicing black magic. It's not about harm, it's about becoming invincible internally and then reconnecting with the void, because black magic is the path of service to self versus white magic is the path of service to others. They both literally lead you to the same place, just certain things are easier to manifest in black magic versus light magic. All right, so you're here, you're in the third dimension, and it's basically like a space, it's a bubble, a container where you experience length, height, and basically depth, okay? From this third dimension, you can go up and then tap into 4D through 14D and then try to manifest here, or you can go down and then go back to the 0 point so that the 0 point changes the way it manifests for you up here, okay? Light magic tells you to go up. Go all the way up to the highest dimensions possible and try to collapse that down into the third dimension here, okay? Black magic tells you go down because there's less steps, and then once you go to the main blueprint, it'll manifest upward because reality is coming from the 0 point instead of the all, okay? So light magic says the all is projecting itself downward into reality. Black magic says that the void is creating itself from nothingness into something. So when you practice black magic, you're actually just doing less steps in general to get what you want. It's going from 3D to 2D to 1D to 0D. That's literally like less than 3 steps in a whole, because you don't even consider the third dimension. This is where you get your end result, but you're really working at 2D, 1D, and 0D when you're practicing black magic versus working 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 9 dimensions upwards when you're working with light magic. So one of them's way more steps, maybe more powerful in certain ways, but it's not the quickest way to change your life, nor is it the only way to change your life. So with black magic, what you end up doing, right, is like, I want to create something. It doesn't matter if it's money, more power, more whatever it is that you want to manifest, right? You go down to 2 dimensions. Now, 2 dimensions is where sacred geometry actually is. It's where symbols become energy patterns. So in Antojai, I teach that symbols themselves activate different states of consciousness and energy, because the symbol is 2D, and that 2D projection eventually tells reality how to organize itself and manifest upward. Now, symbology is in all shamanism. Symbols are in all alchemy. Doesn't matter what it is that you're practicing. So it's interesting that all magic in general says that you need to access the 2D to then reshape the way reality is vibrating to create a different image at 3D. So when you go downward in 2D, what you're looking at is the blueprint of reality, how different infinities, different frequencies in reality are crossing each other to create what we experience in space. At 2D, we're experiencing vibration fully, like different vibrations are coming together to create frequencies. This is why there's a ton of black magic spells that are talking about going against the course of nature. They rewrite the way reality is vibrating and cross-referencing itself, how it's interacting with itself from multiple different angles, so that you create shortcuts, what seem like shortcuts in the physical world. Now, newbie basic black magicians will only learn how to do this to get stuff like money, etc. More advanced black magic practitioners learn how to go even deeper into 1D, because 1D is saying, this is where I am now, right? Like, I am not seeing the end result that I want to see now. And I want that end result to be now. right? Those 2 points right here, the now, which is now, and where we want to be in the future, the now that we're going to be talking from, are still within the same point in space. Like they're not really actually separated by anything. You're just saying, I'm going from A to B, okay? Which is really interesting because at 1D, you're setting out the blueprint. Like this is where I currently am. This is where I'm going to end up. Once you say that and you let that kind of like pick its own vibration and unfold naturally, the different waves start to collide with each other. They start to vibrate, create frequencies, and then they manifest the thing that you want at a higher dimension in the third dimensional space, right? So then master black magicians will take it one step closer to the 0 point. The 0 point allows you to gather so much mass, so much energy, chakra, mana, whatever you want to call it. You accumulate so much consciousness, energy, awareness, and then you basically warp space and time around you like a black hole. That's the whole premise of it. You start consuming all the other data in reality and you start creating like a loop upon itself, right? Like you're no longer trying to go from now to now. Everything is collapsing around you. And I'll show you what it looks like. If you were a black hole, that's what you end up creating right here, right? This line that I just created is this up here. It's the higher manifestational plane, right? This is bending. Space is bending around you. And then you just keep collecting more and more energy. You keep increasing your mass. And then this all becomes bigger and more space and time will start bending around you as you accumulate more and more and more and more energy. This is why black magicians seem power hungry. They're not actually trying to accumulate power in the physical world when it only comes to like stuff, right? If you're just a black magician that's wanting to manifest a car or a house, whatever, you're always stuck at 2D and you're always trying to understand different blueprints. But then the master magicians, the elites that are controlling the world, they've accumulated so much power, so much mass, so much influence that reality literally bends around them. Space bends around them. That's how they control the narrative, because they've learned how to get people to forfeit their free will willingly. So you know when you get like a new app on your phone and then it's got this really long terms and conditions that you have to like read through? Be honest with yourself. Do you really read through it, or you just press agree because you want to use the app? 99% of people just press agree so that they can get to the next layer of the app and just start having an experience. By not reading the terms and conditions, you willingly gave away your free will for whatever's to come. And then that's how they gain more power. And then the more people that agree to this creation, rather it's a terms and agreement or they tell you they're going to do something and you don't fight back, that's what ends up creating like the distortion in the world that we're currently experiencing. That's why people are witnessing and waking up to the imbalance in reality itself. But this isn't the end goal. This is all about invincibility. Black magic is about becoming indestructible, invincible, by making all of reality obey you. And if it doesn't obey you, it goes back into the void. And imagine like the moment I go from here all the way down, there's nothingness again. There's just the void, right? So from the void, you start realizing yourself. You choose what you want. You let the blueprint fall into sacred geometry and symbology and magic and alchemy, and then you get what you want. That's the game of black magic. Versus light magic, which tells you to go to 4D, and you have to align yourself with the frequency of the timeline that you want to collapse downward. But the only way you can do that is if at 5D, you authentically know what you want. And then if you do not authentically know what you want, then you have to explore more of yourself at a higher dimension so you can bring that intelligence downward into the third, okay? When you use light magic to manifest, you have to gain more wisdom, knowledge, and experience. When you use black magic, you're using the framework of reality to get what you want. You're just taking the path of least resistance because reality is already created this way. Most people think that black magic is going against reality or it's unnatural, but the fact that black and light magic exist simultaneously go to show you that it's part of the greater whole. Ultimately, there is no black magic in the way that you understand it. There's only a downward force or a descension process that still gets you ascended. Just like there's no light magic, there's an ascension process that still eventually comes back to the same point. It's like a huge circle. Nothing is actually different. It's like an infinity symbol. If we look at the infinity symbol, one of them's black magic, one of them's white magic, but it's still the same thing that will get you where you want to be. This is like the divine feminine, the divine masculine. Usually divine feminine is labeled by black magic and chaos, where divine masculine is usually labeled as white magic and light work and stuff like that. Now, I'm sure you're asking yourself, why did I want to learn how to do black magic? I'm an experimenter. I love to find things out on my own. And I basically do these things so you don't have to. I spent 5 years understanding the actual science behind black magic so that you didn't have to like do all the trial and error I did. I lost a relationship in the process. I went through a lot of different chaos, but I also ended up getting a ton of my dreams super fast in the most random ways possible that nobody could ever explain. I ended up getting the things that I wanted faster than practicing light magic for like over fucking 20 years. I'm not somebody that likes to read about experiences. I like to have them. So I don't want to read about how skydiving feels. I actually want to skydive. I also wanted to understand, does black magic only have to do with evil, or is it actually something else that we can work with on a regular basis? Because learning everything that I have learned on esoteric and shamanism, there's two sides to every coin, the positive, the negative, and when you become super conscious, there's three sides to every coin, the actual ridge of the coin, which would be a mixture of both light and dark. Now, one of the main things you're going to understand about black magic is that it's not afraid of destroying things. A lot of light magic doesn't empower the practitioner to destroy. It's constant creation, and you stack on top of your creation always, right? Where over time, like if you've ever built anything in your life from, an art project or other, you sometimes have to erase or eliminate something in a creation so that you can actually see the end result, right? Like sometimes if you see an artist sketch, they do like the baseline sketching and they eventually have to erase certain lines so that you can see the face more clearly that they're drawing. And in advanced spiritual alchemy, the future is actually negatively charged and the past is actually positively charged. That's why when you do a lot of light work, you tend to do a lot of healing towards the past. You're trying to create a solution from an alternate reality into the past. When you use black magic, you're collapsing the future. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past. You're just saying, this is the end result that I'm going to create now. Black magic doesn't require healing. Black magic only requires self-accountability. I promise you, rookies and people who have never practiced black magic will argue this tooth and nail that that's not how it works. I teach students all over the world how to even tap into this because black magic and light magic are part of the greater whole. You're trying to return to wholeness, not division. So like anytime you demonize anything, anytime you see something as negative, then you are creating polarity. You're falling deeper into the Maya, you're falling deeper into samsara, and you're not actually understanding the holographic reality that you're experiencing right now. If you've been a spiritual practitioner, you've been practicing alchemy for a really long time, there's times where you practice so much light magic, you feel fatigued. You feel like, I don't want to keep giving to other people. I don't want to keep being this person who has no boundaries. So black magic kicks in with or without your participation. The moment you start becoming the nemesis in other people's realities because you're saying no, or like this is my boundary and somebody doesn't take it the right way, black magic is already in play. It's a boundary that's causing a negative reaction in somebody who's trying to take advantage of you so that it can create a positive reaction in your reality so you can reclaim your power. The whole premise of shadow work and dark alchemy and stuff like that is also in this wheelhouse of black magic. It's not saying that shadow work is black magic, but shadow is darkness. So black magic would be darkness as well. Because influencers and spiritual teachers introduce black magic and subconscious reprogramming and all these other things under the light spectrum illusion, you never really master it. You only kind of sort of touch certain areas of mastery, but you never get the whole entire picture. This isn't for you to go ahead and practice black magic, even though if you do, I will put some links in the descriptions below so you can join the wait list. But this is mostly so you don't have to practice black magic, but you can still use the dynamics of creating reality to your advantage, so that you just basically jump 5-10 years of deliberate, constant 24 presence in black magic. Let's talk about it. I really want to understand your experience. Everyone has a totally different experience with black magic, especially if you've been on the offensive side. You know, sometimes people use black magic on you to attack you, and that can create a very specific image of what black magic is. But I'm here to show you the full alchemy spectrum that you have access to through shamanism and many other practices that have always been waiting for your attention to interact with a higher level of existence. Your higher self is here right now. It's only needing you to bring that into awareness to manifest your greatest life. Sending you all love. Catch you later. Antojai.